What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today what I have for you guys is my official no bullshit guide for the hardcore Easter egg here on the final Reich. So before even watching this tutorial, I highly recommend getting educated on the casual Easter egg here on the final Reich, since a majority of the hardcore Easter eggs actually completing most of, if not all of, the casual Easter egg up until the very last step. So please watch that video and then come back here. I'll have links down below in the description, as well as some annotations on screen as well. So also keep in mind, it's very important to note that you can do a majority of these hardcore steps while you're doing the casual Easter eggs. So when you get to around 28 to 30, you'll have everything done. That's just an estimation, of course. You could of course get this done very sooner, by at least around 15 to 16. So keep in mind, you can get some of these steps done while you're doing stuff like the Uber Schnala step or the Voice of God. Do everything hand in hand so that you're not waiting till the very last minute to do most of these hardcore steps. So step number 0 is of course to get all 4 Tesla gun variants. So I'll put some annotations on screen and of course some more links in the description. I decided to upload individual videos for each Tesla gun variant instead of making one giant video with all of them, including the steps for the hardcore Easter egg, so I made it a little bit easier for you guys to check out. So that is step number 0, getting all 4 Tesla gun variants, which ensures that you're able to do some of these steps later on. So step number 1 is going to be restoring power to the pub. So this does sound pretty strange, but what you have to do is go to the riverside, and what you'll see is a rooster-shaped weather vane on the stone wall. You have to interact with it. It will spin and point in a specific direction. It can point in a total of 3 different directions, and what you'll notice is that where the actual rooster is pointing is where you'll see a glowing white light. So I'll try to include examples on screen of each of the 3 different directions the rooster could be pointing in, but here's an example of one right now. You'll see that it's pointing right at that glowing white light. Just shoot it and boom, that part of the step is done. Now you have to walk over to the docks, and where you'll see the water wheel, and you'll also see this exposed circuitry of some sort, and what you have to do is take either one of the Tesla gun variants and shoot those wires until you'll see some power emit right out of it, which means you restored power to the pub. So that is step number 1 here for the hardcore Easter egg. Now, once the power is restored, you could interact with the record player inside, but you'll notice that it's actually missing the record itself, leading into step number 2, which is to collect and place the 3 tops. So this is kind of difficult, but this is one of those steps where you can literally complete this right at the beginning of your match. So right when you spawn in on the final ride, you can actually look for these tops and pick each of them up, but they of course won't be used until later. But let's just say you haven't picked them up yet and you want to go look for them, you can easily do so. So you'll see 3 tops spawn on the rooftops near the surface village. Now there's going to be a green top, a red top, and a yellow top. You have to look on the rooftops right above the paths in the town, riverside, courtyard, pub, or even the village entrance areas. I'll try to show as many locations as I can on screen for you guys, but I'll also leave a link down below in the description for a full list of every single spot you can possibly find these tops at. So once you find all 3 tops, let it be at the beginning of the game, or if it's right now on round 20 or whatever round you're on, you can place them in the gray slots in the toy display case right next to the big bunker door in the village square. And now you're gonna have to find combinations of how you can turn these actual tops here in the display. So this is step number 3, solving the Enigma code puzzle. So what you have to do is look in the zombie spawn windows in the town square, riverside, courtyard, pub, and village entrance to look for these Enigma machines with a large ribbon, and you have to write down the number that those little machines display on them. So this is a little bit of a trick. Now what you'll notice is that you'll always find a Enigma machine for the color yellow and for the color red, but you'll never find one for the color green, and that's actually what makes this Easter egg pretty fun. You're gonna have to guess the number for the green top, but don't freak out just yet. It's actually very, very simple. So once you find the designated number for the color yellow / orange and the color red, go over to the toy display case and turn each top to that corresponding number. And now when you get over to the green top, you're gonna be like, fuck, what is the number? Just keep turning the top as many times as you have to until it locks in place. Once it locks in place, you officially completed this Enigma puzzle, and there'll be a drawer right on the toy display which opens up, revealing the actual record, which you can now pick up and later place in the record player inside the pub. So boom, that is step number 3. Now moving on to step number 4, which is to reset the bunker power. So make sure you've placed the record on the record player in the pub, then returning to the command room in the bunker to finally reset the power. So the way you reset these power switches is this. What you have to do is have one person go to the laboratory and reset that power switch, and have the other person go to the morgue and reset that power switch. Then either one of those people has to run quickly back to the center of the command room, where you'll find a third power switch which is now spawned to the right of the salt mine door. And then you'll see a panel that gets revealed on the left side of that third power switch, and you'll see exposed coils. So shoot these exposed coils with an upgraded Tesla gun, could be any one of the 4 variants, and the lights will now go out, leading right into step number 5, which is to unlock the bunker safe. So keep in mind, step number 5 has to be done right away after shooting those coils with the upgraded Tesla gun. So you can watch this step right here in the video, and then when you're actually in game, make sure you do this right after shooting those damn coils. Make sure you have 2 Brenner heads available. If you're playing on solo, it's a different story, you only need 1. But if you're playing on co-op with somebody else helping you, have 1 Brenner head by this panel in the morgue and another Brenner head near this panel in the laboratory. What you want to do is take this Brenner head, shine the head's light on each to make the blood stains appear, and keep in mind the footage you're seeing on screen of me doing this is exactly the same steps and process as you would do in the panel near the laboratory. I just decided to do the one in the morgue for this gameplay. So do this before the light turns back on. So go to these panels, and when you have the bloodstains appearing, you'll see a set of numbers appear right in front of you. You have to take the Brenner head, shine it at each of the digits, and keep interacting with each number until you see a blue print on each number. When you get a blueprint on each number is when you'll know you have the correct code. So after doing that, you'll see these half-disc coins spawn inside of that little digit machine. So what you do is grab that one, have the other person grab the half-disc coin at his panel in the laboratory, and you can now go downstairs to collect the red talon. So you have to go to the hilt device in the Emperor's Chamber, and directly beneath the statue itself is where you can actually place these half-disc coins to successfully unlock the red talon sword here on the final Reich. Keep in mind, you could do step number 5 completely by yourself, but on solo it'll of course be a pain in the ass as you're trying to find those blueprints on each number while collecting the half-disc coins. As on solo, you can have one person watch the zombie while the other person goes to both of the panels to collect those coins. Or something I would even do is have a third person watch the zombie while one person goes to the morgue, one goes to the laboratory, then meets up down in the Emperor's Chamber. Whatever way you want to do it, just make sure that you're completely safe, you have plenty of ammo, perks, and your armor to survive that step. Leading into step number 6, which is to charge the record player. So this could be a huge pain in the ass if you don't have instant kills, if you're on a high round, if you don't have the right weapons. So return to the pub with the red talon and listen to the record player. When a new song starts, the timer will begin. You'll need to kill 30 to 50 zombies before the song on the record player finishes playing. You must only use the red talon sword for these kills. Keep in mind, you have to get all these kills inside the pub right near the record player so the souls charge the machine. The red talon sword will gain an upgrade after about 5 to 7 kills, launching in red energy wave with each swing that kills more than one zombie. So another note is that the pest zombie rounds are also the easiest rounds to complete this step. So once again, you can't leave the pub and then go back in and get the kills. The song will of course reset. So what I would even do, if you're playing on co-op, have one person train zombies outside, the other 2 are inside the pub swinging at the zombies. Or if you want to have just one person inside the pub swinging at zombies while the other 2 are maybe near the spawn trying to train and slowly bring in zombies into the pub, There are a couple of strategies to do this, but what I wouldn't do is have every player in the game sit in this pub trying to get kills. It's an easy way to die, but you know, if you have insta-kill consumables, maybe 3 to 5 of them, then you could have every player sit in the pub, activate those consumables, and just keep swinging away at zombies. But another strategy is, of course, to just wait for a pest round, then do this very, very easily inside the pub. Whatever way you want to do it, but this is an easy way to fucking fail this entire Easter egg, just by sitting in this pub, trying to swing at zombies and then getting killed when you have bombers coming towards you, Westlings or Brenners. Watch your fucking back. This is a huge pain in the ass, but consumables and your abilities, all that special shit, will of course help you out with this step. But once you have gotten enough kills, the record player will stop. You'll hear it reverse and begin to click strangely. That's when this next step begins. Step number 7, which is to get the record player code. I'll put my code on screen so you can see exactly what I got, and it can of course correlate with where I input the code down in the Emperor's Chamber. So once you've heard that code correctly, and you can take as long as you need to listen to what the code is. You can take 10 minutes, 20 minutes, a half hour. Your team will probably get mad at you, but just make sure you're listening closely to what that code is. Walk away from the pub, go down to the Emperor's Chamber, and here is step number 8, which is to input the second voice of God. So make sure you've completed the casual Easter egg step where you have to input the first voice of God using the Brenner head and those paintings all over the map. So once you've done that, you can go up to the same machine and you can then input the record player numbers into the voice of God device. Now, the center of the device between the two hands of God is where you're starting. So from the far left to the center left, center right, and far right is how you're going to input this 4-digit code. So as you can see, the code I have from the pub right here on screen is being inputted in this specific direction. Always follow this direction of how I'm inputting the numbers, and if that's of course correct, you can hold square to interact with the machine, and boom, you are now ready for the boss fight on the hardcore Easter egg. You can shoot the chandelier above the hilt with all 4 Tesla gun variants. So this is another part where the 4 variants are of course required, but if you only have 2 or 3 people in the game, then have each person take turns taking the different variants. You know, if there's 2 people in the game, there's 4 variants. I'll shoot a variant, go back and get another variant from the weapon building system, and then shoot the second variant at that chandelier. Quite simple. So just please make sure you don't shoot the orb itself, or else that locks you into the casual Easter egg and you're fucked. I've seen this happen to many people, and it's a very dangerous step, so make sure nobody's goofing around with any of the variants, because yes, you could accidentally lock yourself into the casual Easter egg by shooting the orb first before the chandelier. So once each of the 4 variants have successfully shot at the chandelier, then the swirling energy will fly down into the hilt, and now is when you can shoot the hilt orb with any of your Tesla guns to collect the hilt itself to initiate the final boss like normal. So keep in mind, for step number 9, the Panzer Mortar, this plays out exactly the same way as with the casual Easter egg, where you have to shoot the blimp, collect and charge the batteries, then plant them on the stunned Panzer Mortar. But in my opinion, I feel like with the boss on the hardcore Easter egg is where you'll actually notice a couple more bosses spawning in, like Westlings, Bombers, Brenners. I've seen that a lot more frequently on the hardcore side than the casual. Maybe it was just my game. You guys can let me know down below in the comments, but that's about it for the hardcore Easter egg guide. And that's why I said you really have to be educated on how to do the casual Easter egg first, because you're essentially doing nearly all of the casual Easter egg up until the very last second when you're supposed to shoot that orb. And that's when you can choose to shoot the chandelier instead to initiate the hardcore side of this Easter egg. But as I also said earlier, and I'll say it again, you could do literally a majority of these steps as you're doing the casual Easter egg. You can complete the top step right at the beginning of the game. You can just collect them right at the spawn when you jump into a match of the final Reich. You can reset the power bunker as you're fucking doing the Oberschnelle step. Anything you want to do, just make sure you do it efficiently so that you're not on too high of a round when you're actually getting to the boss. So once again, as I said earlier, the boss fight is very simple, but you just have to make sure that when you look at that blimp, you only see 1 glowing light opposed to 4 on the casual Easter egg. So it's actually, in my opinion, a little bit easier to just focus your fire on 1 light versus 4, because anybody can fuck up that step if one person's shooting 1 light and one person shooting another. Just have each person focus your fire on 1 glowing light here on the blimp. Imp, and Bacon and Eggs, the pack-punch version of the 1911, is of course one of the best weapons to use to get that battery down so you can charge it and place it on a stunned Panzer mortar. But another difference is that the Panzer mortar will only be stunned for about a second, maybe a second and a half at most. It won't be 3 to 4 seconds like it is in the casual Easter egg. So you have to be prepared, and it is of course recommended that your team has experience doing the casual Easter egg, because if you get to the hardcore steps of this Easter egg and you get lost, you're pretty much fucked. You know, you have so much to do for the hardcore side. You have to upgrade the 4 variants, do the casual, and then do some of these extra steps like getting kills in the pub. But really hope you enjoyed, and really hope you guys found this helpful. I'll of course be covering everything there is to know on the final Reich leading up to the release of DLC 1 for World War II Zombies, aka The Darkest Shore. Stay tuned in for the latest news on DLC 1 for Sledgehammer's current Call of Duty game. This is dkdynamite, and enjoy the rest of the gameplay. Peace.
I am so sorry, Klaus. I was too late.
Meine
I
Schwester.
was too late to save you.
What have you done? Nein, what have you done?
Hold still, brother. I followed your clues. The body that you...
darkness! I must go to them! Keep fighting! The Emperor must not return!